Just stay right there. Hi. Say hi. Say hi, Licorice. You gonna say hi? Okay. He's still working on the language thing, aren't you, baby? Okay. Here you go. There you go. Off you run. All right. Tonight, went to the theater. Going to movies and all that. That's how you can tell that the hockey season is winding down because now I have time to go and watch movies. And watched Across the Spider Verse. Be kind of weird if I wore this to like the new Transformers because I have a Transformers jersey as well, so it'd be weird. But I do intend to watch Rise of the Beasts. I also saw a trailer for Gran Turismo, which made me laugh because I play Gran Turismo every day. And as soon as the trailer started, I'm like, I recognize this. All right, and it even shows like Gran Turismo 7, and I was like, okay, so I've got Gran Turismo 7, so okay, that's what we're gonna do. But anyways, Across the Spider Verse, very very good movie. I just want to say straight off, I'm not gonna get into spoilers off the bat. It might have been the the best written. I want to say the best written comic book movie I've watched. And I say that including all of the other Marvel movies. So it shows that you don't have to have the world coming to an end because we don't have a world-ending event in this. You don't have to have a villain that's in on the screen a lot. The villain in this is not on the screen a lot. Um, and it really gets into the mythos of Spider-Man, and it does a just excellent job of that. And I thought it was very very well done. I did start checking my phone a little bit towards the end because I was like, this is gonna resolve, right? Because according to how much time this movie's supposed to have and how much time we've been here watching it, I I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna have an ending. So, that being said, if you haven't watched it and you're on the fence about it, I will tell you straight out, go watch it. It's fantastic. The reviews do not lie. The reviews have been almost universally glowing for this movie. It is much better than Into the Spider Verse. Into the Spider Verse, I was okay with. I thought, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7. This one, at least a 9. At least. So the first movie, is really just your standard origin story with a few differences in there. And of course, you have the other Spider-Man, Spider-Men characters in there. And it's fun. It's got its own, peril, and you're watching Miles Morales, build himself up to become Spider-Man. This movie, it really just jumps in. I I think, and so from here I will be getting into some spoilers. I think what I liked was that they establish Gwen, they establish her storyline. They do that. Then they establish Miles. They establish Miles' storyline, so that's done. And then we get into the meat of the story. So when you look at the runtime for the movie is listed as 2 hours and 20 minutes. It does not feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. This is not a movie that you sit through and you go, wow, there's a lot of bloat here. And I have felt that way with Marvel movies. I've talked about that when I've talked about Marvel movies. That there's times where it's like, okay, you could really cut this scene in half. You could cut that scene in half. You could take that out altogether. This joke really doesn't land. That kind of thing. This movie, it is very good. It is solid at setting up this character as a villain that I got a kick out of. Now, initially, because I'm not familiar with the Spot, I was like, so Rorschach then, because it looked like Rorschach. I was like, okay, so Rorschach. I'm cool with Rorschach being in the Spider-Man universe. Why not? I enjoy Watchmen. I think that you could make a really good Watchmen movie. I like the movie Watchmen that's out there, from almost 20 years ago now. But I will admit there's some cringy stuff in there, and it could have been done better. And I do hope that at some point in time somebody does a really good movie version of Watchmen. I know they did a series. I never did get around to watching the series, got to be honest. But again, I was like, is that Rorschach? And then you see that it's a character, and he's portrayed as kind of pathetic. He's a villain, but he's kind of pathetic. And so Miles is shuffling him off to the side, like, I'll deal with you later. I have other things to deal with. You're not important. You're not. And so it kind of ticks him off, like, no, no, I'm your nemesis. And so they have the back and forth. And I thought, this is fun. I wonder who the actual villain in the movie was going to be. And I had no idea it was going to be him. So I've read no spoilers, none, going into this movie. I had no idea what was going to happen. I have not read any Miles Morales comics. I thought it was interesting how they showed, comic book covers in this. I was wondering how meta they were going to get. I had actually wondered if they would go so meta as to have almost like, when Homer Simpson ends up in the real world. It's kind of weird. I thought they're not going to do something like that, are they? And they didn't. I was glad. The Lego thing was a nice surprise, though. But they do show like uh, the other Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield one, as a for instance, and they show all of the well, Uncle Ben, and this is what happens, and this is how this goes. And it was, I thought, really, really, really just smartly written. And there were some really good moments that show like, okay, in this universe this happens, in this universe this happens, and it goes back and forth. And I thought it was just so smart, so smart. And so throughout the movie they're ramping it up and ramping it up, and they do it without needing the villain to do much, which I think was great. We didn't have a sky beam in this. We didn't have, like I said, we didn't have the world's coming to an end, everybody's gonna die, which is fine in some comic movies, but it feels like that's always it. The thing I always laugh at is when it's a standalone movie in the Marvel universe and the world could be destroyed by something, and the Avengers just, it's not really our thing. There's one Avenger there already, right? It's fine. This will just work itself out. We're not really worried about that. So this Spider-Man movie, I thought did a really good job of making it feel like the stakes were really important, even though the world wasn't going to blow up. Because I think making it so that the world should blow up, it gets lazy. It just gets lazy. Now again, spoiler territory. The movie does end on a cliffhanger. It is a well written cliffhanger. I actually thought when it went to credits, I thought, I don't know if there's enough material there for another whole movie, but maybe there is. And so there's going to be another movie coming out, and I'm down for it. I think that's going to be excellent. I think that they did a really good job with this. I got a kick out of the Indian version of Spider-Man, meaning from India, and the accent. I could tell it was the same guy who was the taxi driver in Deadpool. I was like, okay, that's the same guy. I can tell that voice. And there are other voices I recognized as well, which is nice. I liked the relationship between Miles and his mother. I thought that was great. And I thought that the switch at the end. So again, if you don't want spoilers, this is a good time to say I'm going to turn this video off and come back after I've watched it. So just warning. But when you realize that the machine took Miles back to the universe that the spider was from and not actually his universe, like it's a moment of, he's in trouble. How's he? Because again, I was looking at my phone and going, there's like what, 10 minutes left? How's he gonna get back? Is Gwen gonna figure this? Like how? So they build it up, and of course, in the end, Miles is in peril, and Gwen's coming to save the day. I thought Gwen was very well written in this. I thought that the storylines and the idea that there's canon that holds all the Spider-Man characters and Spider-Woman characters together, I thought it was really, really a good idea. And it does show the Web idea, and so it does set up Madam Web could absolutely come in. And like if this whole thing falls apart, Madam Web could come in and try to put everything back together. I do remember from the cartoon in the 90s, Madam Web I thought was pretty cool. I've often referred back to with Spider-Man, I think my favorite Spider-Man era was the 90s cartoon. I thought it did a really good job of building on each storyline, building on each episode, and just there was a sense of order, and it just worked. And so villains would cycle out, cycle back in, and it never felt repetitious, it never felt tired. It just worked. And what they're doing here with these animated Spider-Man movies is kind of the same thing. And I will agree with, I've seen reviews that say Marvel could learn a lot from this movie. Absolutely, Marvel could learn a lot from this movie. And it shows that even though, a couple weeks ago I'm making a video like I'm kind of marveled out, I think I'm kind of done. I still enjoy a superhero movie. I enjoy it when it's really well written. I enjoy it when it's really well paced, when the characters are fleshed out, when it feels like the stakes are realistic, when you're not fighting fish people or a microscopic universe. Like it's just when it feels grounded. And it's weird because here we were, and think about this. I'm saying this movie was grounded even though we see a Lego universe. Because in the scheme of the movie, it made sense. In that reality of the movie, it made sense and it didn't feel ridiculous. Was it kind of silly? Sure. But was it something that just takes you out of the movie and you go, I can't watch this anymore? No, not really. And I thought there were enough things in this that adults would appreciate. I thought there were enough things in this that kids would appreciate. The foul language is kept to an absolutely bare minimum. So there's not really anything there that I think would preclude families from going to see it as families. And I thought it was just really, really well done. Um, I wish I could stand here and say, well, there's a flaw here and there's a flaw there. Let me think. Um, Yeah, not really. In terms of flaws, I didn't really see anything there that I would say, well, that shouldn't have been there, or this should have been different. I thought the character development was done absolutely, as close to perfect. And again, when I've just seen a movie, I can be more praising of said movie than I might be, say, a month or two down the road. But yeah, this was just really well done. I really can't say anything negative about it. It was well done, and of course, I wore my Spider-Man jersey because I didn't get a Spider-Man jersey to not wear it. And like I said, I've got a Transformers one, so when we go see it, I'll throw on the Bumblebee jersey. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just and it's going to make it harder for me to watch other Marvel properties now. And it shows that Sony's taken a lot of criticism for how they've done some of their movies. We know that um, some of the Marvel that they've done hasn't really worked out all that well. But on the animated side, top notch, absolutely top notch. First into the Spider Verse, and now across the Spider Verse. And I want to say too, the animation in this movie might be the best animation I've ever seen. That it felt like it was drawn like a comic book. It was without seeming wooden or two dimensional. Like it felt like they were real characters, but it was drawn like a comic. And I thought it was a really nice kind of a love letter to comic books, and it paid respect to it. And again, I thought it was a movie that people all ages could enjoy. So I would love to come out with something negative and say, well, I didn't like this fight or that fight. But I thought the balance of action to the dramatic side and the character development, I thought that was really well done. There wasn't like a whole bunch of exposition dumps either. Like I've talked in reviews for Flash episodes about, and then here comes the exposition character. That really wasn't a thing in this movie. There are parts obviously where they have to explain what's going on, but in general, it doesn't treat the audience like it's stupid. You can easily figure out what's going on, and I really enjoyed it. Again, 2 hours and 20 minutes, no problem. Normally, if a movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes, I might have to get up and use the washroom or just stretch my legs for a bit, or I might look at my watch or my phone in this case is like, what time is it? Not today. The only reason I looked at my phone was because I knew I would probably want to message my wife and say, yeah, we're done. Just as like a heads up. But yeah, it was really well done. I went with the boys. Yvonne didn't go because the animation style kind of gives her a headache. And I think it's the combination of the bright colors and the jump cuts. I really enjoyed the jump cuts. I enjoyed the 360-degree experience they give you in parts of the movie where the world kind of gets flipped upside down and then back up again. I thought that was really well done. Yeah, but I can totally understand why for her, with her vision being as it is, it absolutely, I think it would have given her a headache, especially in the theater. She wouldn't have made it through it in the theater. So I haven't talked her into watching the original movie on Netflix or on Disney Plus. I think it's on Disney Plus. I know it's on Netflix. But I'll try. I'm gonna try, and then when this one comes out on DVD, I'll have it. That's a movie I have to have. And of course, they showed like a trailer for Beasts, Rise of the Beasts, because they have to. Um, and then there were trailers for like the new Trolls movie. I'm not watching that. That's not happening. Um, that I was like, wow, more Trolls movies, because why not? But again, that's for little kids, and that's fine. The theater was maybe a third, maybe a half full. There wasn't a lot of obnoxiousness. There were a few teenage girls that every time that they would, I'm guessing, go to the washroom, they had to giggle and talk the whole way down really loudly and laugh about something in the movie and yap over it. But outside of that, and I mean me without milk duds to throw at them, right? Anyways, but yeah, outside of that, it was a good theater going experience, and I'm glad I saw it in the theater. There are certain movies that do need to be seen in the theater, so I intend to do that with Transformers. I got to talk Yvonne into go into that, and then yeah, I think I'm gonna have to see Gran Turismo. I really do. They did show the trailer too for the Flash, as I've said in recent videos. I can't watch something with Ezra Miller without thinking about all the charges against him and all the weird bat crap behavior he's shown over the last couple years. I wish I could separate them because it looks like it's a good movie. But the other problem is I've already seen Flashpoint. I watched it on TV. I know the storyline and I know that Barry's an idiot. So that's the problem. Barry's an idiot. I know Barry's an idiot, and yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch that in the theater again. If it was Grant Gustin who was playing the Flash, I'd be there opening night. I would be there opening night. I'd be so happy to see him on the big screen as the Flash. But for Ezra Miller, I don't know if I can do that. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you saw the movie, what did you think? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.